Okay, we are live. Boards. Board games, board games, it's what we're talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. We are starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing. And over there, here is Dina. And are going to talk about marketing, yeah. And we are again talking about a thing known as marketing. And today, Dina will talk about marketing upon social media.
Yeah.
Board games is what we're going to talk about. Board games, board games. I'm not going to shout. Hey, good morning, everyone, and hello, Xate. It is lovely to see you. And here we have Dina Ramsey,
Ramsa.
Ramza, and we won't talk about the other persons that we've caught lovely glimpses of. And good morning, Alan Alton. Yeah, so I am Bez. It's his bedtime in some country. We are blethering about board games, so it is the Bezzy Bedtime Board Game Blether. And today it is social media marketing. Can you give us a 1 minute introduction to what this topic is all about?
Okay.
Why? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So today we'll be talking about SMM, social media marketing or management, which is the art of ghost. Yeah, the art of going online and finding people who are really keen on the thing that you're doing and captivating them enough to make them stay and also, buy your stuff.
Yeah, and it's like that's kind of just marketing in general, isn't it? So, I mean, we've already talked about marketing, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago, something like that?
2 weeks, yeah.
And then we were like, okay, social media, like, how do we tackle this beast? I mean, why is social media important? Like, why are we even talking about it? I mean, how did we get to this place? What's his, like, yeah, what's going on? Where am I? Who am I?
Yeah, and obviously in social media management, you want to make sure that the people get a clear idea of who you are and that there is a sort of a consistency of the story that you're trying to tell in order to not just sell your stuff, but also making people more curious of what you can do and what sort of value you can add to their life.
Sure. So yeah, we're going to be talking all about that. We're going to be talking about hashtags, all this sorts of stuff. Oh, hey Paul, it's lovely to see you.
That is so cool.
I hope that you're having a great day. And we are going to talk now about the brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant? And you have a thing that you've already picked.
Autumn.
So why do you love autumn? I mean, I get like the colors are changing, the leaves are falling. Is that what's going on? Is it like the firecrackers of nature?
I love that. And, all the colors, it gets colder outside, especially here in Finland, it can get really chilly. And it's kind of like a storm season right now. There's been a lot, trees falling down and there's all this drama in the nature, which is kind of like fighting back. And it's just super excited because you want to bring out your blankets and it's like cozy reading time. It is the perfect time to gather friends around to play games. And it's just all this stuff is just, for me, all of these things is that it peaks during autumn. And the pop of creativity, and you'll also see on like platforms like Kickstarter and stuff. There's more games coming as a result of this creative vibe that happens during autumn.
I mean, Kickstarter's had a long run-in, so I think it's a bit much to say it happens in autumn because people are creative in autumn. If anything, if people were creative in autumn, it would happen in winter or something. I mean, that just seems like marketing. But and hello, Javier, it's lovely to see you. And
Ooh,
sure,
ooh, okay.
autumn is amazing, but I mean, I don't like the coldness. I'm sorry, but it kind of strikes me that you're living up to your thing of Gamer Valkyrie. That's like what you call yourself in
I
some
know.
places. And so
Yes.
you're like this Viking, yes, nature is fighting and all these battles and epic. It's like instead of blood rage, it's kind of like, I don't know, leaf rage or something. I don't know.
It's true, yeah, I do the whole Valkyrie thing because obviously I'm from Norway and I live in Finland, which is slightly colder and a little bit more dramatic, and we have more snow here. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for me, this is prime time.
So there's other things that we can appreciate right now, even before autumn, or even if you don't like autumn. And let's talk about some recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights. Recent highlights, playing games and living your life. Recent highlights. Um, I again forgot to put up all my pictures today. I've gotten so many photos in the past couple of days, just things from nature. Oh,
Ooh,
and good morning, Alex. It's lovely to
good
see
morning,
you.
Alex.
And yeah, I'm just in this amazing world where I'm like, I don't know, about 200 miles from London right now. And, there's hills and there's leaves and there's, you know, foliage and there's rocks and there's moss and there's all these amazing stuff. But I can talk quickly about, and hello, Chris. It's lovely to see you all. It's super exciting to see everyone popping in.
Ooh.
And yeah, for me, the game that I actually played, because I did play one game yesterday, was with my parents. We played Bidel, that's what it's called. So we played with slightly simplified rules where you just, instead of going up in triangular scoring, you score your highest thing twice and then you score your second thing once. I'm not going to explain how the game goes, but it's a really clever submission for the L deck where the things in your hand that you're spending as money, it's goes the earlier in the alphabet, the more valuable it is, and then you're trying to get set. So once you're buying stuff, it's all about the borders. Once you're paying for stuff, it's all about the letters, and then the stuff you pay with becomes what you buy the next round. And hello, Jess, it's lovely to see you
Hi,
too.
Jess.
And anyway, so this is a game that I played with my mum and dad. We had a bit of fun. We played it 3 times, and by the third time, everyone was on board with the game. And yeah, it's just a nice because it was simple enough that they were able to get into it and understand it by the end of the first game. Because sometimes, they're not gamers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And hello, Huon. You're just in time to get to the recent highlights. So if you have any recent highlights, feel free to share. What games have you been playing recently? What sites have you seen? What music have you listened to? Oh, another recent highlight that I had was listening to, those Danny and the Geeky Gamer and the Ella, and they've got this variable player powers podcast, where it's just really madcap and yeah, all this stuff. It was just nice podcasts whilst walking around. Those are all my recent highlights. How about you, Dina?
So I recently discovered the game music done by an orchestra from Undertale, and I've
Nice.
been absolutely loving it. So all of yesterday really went to just listening to this and just submerging myself and kind of wanting to play the game now. But then, when it came out, in the beginning, it was, very indie, and then all of a sudden it just exploded and everyone was playing it. And then I'm like, well, then it's kind of mainstream, and I'm like, should I really? Do I want to play something everyone else is playing?
Why not? I mean, that's kind of just being a hipster attitude. If you're not,
Yeah.
you're just, oh, I mean, play it because you love it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Play it if you want to.
And the music is absolutely fantastic. And I'm thinking, just for the reason of getting more of that would be great for just testing it out and see, is the game as good as the music? Because the music is very promising.
I've still not managed to play it, but I have heard amazing things about that.
And then, yeah, my other thing is that during GridCon, I won Too Many Bones Undertow. So I've been playing that. And it's been a lot of fun. And my kid loves to die. He's
Wait,
like,
was it SquidCon recently? As in Gaming Rules in Devon?
so that was like a month or so, maybe longer. And I've had the game now for a couple of weeks on my shelf, thinking like, oh, I should play that.
Xate asks, which game was it?
Undertow, Too Many Bones.
Oh, so just yeah, I think that sometimes when I'm listening to things, I sometimes blank out. I'm like, oh, please repeat the name.
Yeah,
So,
me too.
oh,
But
so
it's such a brilliant game. It's like there's like a lot of depth right in terms of like role play, and it's just really captivating to jump into it and figuring out all the rules, because there's a lot of these really different color dice and mechanics and symbols that you have to keep in mind when you're playing it.
that does sound really cool. But apparently in this instance, we've got Xate was actually asking Euron because Euron's going to play a demo of a new game tonight, and
That's
it's
really
apparently
exciting.
called Vegas. So there you go. Now, Jess is asking where you are, which leads us into the questionably quick
Quick question.
questions. So, are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, where exactly are you?
I am at the place at Timothy's, so the one who's joining the stream last time, because he has this wonderful setup, and I wanted to utilize that, which is in the north of Finland, in a small village called Ilvieska.
Inivieska.
Hmm.
Okay, and when did you wake up today?
6:30. I was lucky. This is good. 6:30 is late.
What time is it now?
Right now, let's see, find a clock. 12:12.
Okay, so you're 2 hours ahead of the UK currently. Have you had breakfast or brunch yet?
Yeah, I've had breakfast.
What did you eat?
Spinach pancakes.
That sounds exciting. What
They're
was the last
delicious.
physical game that you played?
Undertow. Too many bones.
And so while you were playing Undertow, were you eating or drinking anything?
Tea. I always have tea with my role-playing games.
And I do invite everyone to add on to the questionably quick questions for the next 5 minutes or so, if you would like. For example, Jess is asking, wow, you consider 6:30 to be late? What do you do so early in the morning?
I have a 3.5-year-old who loves getting up early in the morning, usually rising before the sun sometimes. And he usually gets up at 4:30 to 5:30, but today we slept in because he came into my bed and he wanted to snuggle, and we fell asleep and we
Aww.
slept for another hour, which is amazing.
And hello, Odin, it's lovely to see you. Odin is asking, what's your favourite solo game?
I'm really loving Seven Continent for solo at the moment. After having played it as a group, I wanted to see if it would hold up for solo, and it's a way better. I think it should never really have been a group game. It's such a good solo experience.
I have heard people saying that.
I mentioned it before.
Oh, maybe I heard it from you. That's
Yeah.
Jess says your wee 3-year-old sounds cute, and they
He is
suppose the reason had to
adorable.
be either a child or a paid job or maybe a dog.
Yeah, I
But
usually don't start working until 8:30, so that gives an idea.
do you listen to lots of music? And if so, what kind of music?
So I'm actually hearing impaired. I'm deaf, so I don't really listen to an awful lot of music. But I do like having music in the background as background noise when I am working, because it helps me focus and concentrate, because I have attention deficit disorder. And I find that my best work gets done with what is called coffee jazz. Which is a little bit interesting, because when I actually listen to music to listen to it, I prefer classical music or more goth type of music.
How does coffee jazz differ from normal jazz?
All right, so coffee jazz has a smoother lines in it from normal jazz. Jazz can be very like eclectic. It changes very tunes and rhythms, while as a coffee jazz has the same beat going over, and there's like a really nice flow into each of the different segments within and they can play for hours and hours for just one song.
Wow, so
There's
it
no
sounds
one
like
singing.
almost like elevator music in some ways.
It's a little bit like an elevator feel to it sometimes, yeah.
Jess is apparently going to go onto the back of a motorbike, so stay safe, Jess.
Stay
Um,
safe.
um, yeah. Can I ask you more about this hearing impairment that you've
Of
got,
course,
and
yes.
how does it? I know that, of course. Yeah, I was listening to a thing where someone's like saying, obviously, you want to talk about it, you want to normalize it, but at the same time, you don't want to be defined by it. But I was so exactly how difficult is your hearing? Because presumably you can hear me, like you've got headphones going on. So is it just that you hear everything at a lower volume? Is that the way that it works?
So my particular hearing disability is that if you imagine it as a range of hearing, I can't hear anything on the top and anything on the bottom. So I
Oh, in
can
terms
get
of pitch.
in terms of pitch. And I also hear things, I hear nothing on one side of my ear, and I hear some on the other. So technically, if you were talking percentages, I have like a 48-50% hearing, and it's been slowly deteriorating since I was born.
Wow. So the audible range for you, is that the entire range of which at which people tend to speak, or do sometimes like people go, "Oh my God, I'm so excited," and then you can't really hear them?
Yes, I sometimes have people who will speak and I have no idea what's happening. Also, really low bass voices for males, they will be really difficult for me to distinguish words. For me, they come out of as a hum. So when I was living in Ireland, I had no idea what people were talking and saying. There was just like a constant burr to me, and I could feel the vibrations. Like I can sense a lot of the, you know, the vibrations coming off from their voices, and I pick them up really easily. So I get this tingling sensation in my ears, and my head will all be like buzzing, and I can feel it in my chest, and it can be a little bit like you're on a sea, so you get a little bit nauseous because you're actually riding the wave in which they're speaking, which is very fascinating. It means that I'm very good at like checking if speakers on really low volume, I can touch them and I can feel the vibrations more than other people will be able to.
Yeah, that does sound tough. Jess is right. And hello, J Fullscards. It is lovely to see you. Um, so yeah, I think we're in the. Thank you very much. I want to say for sharing that with us. I think
And if
that
you
some.
want, yeah, if anyone is more curious about it, I did a whole podcast with everyone, like ice cream,
Ice cream, ice cream.
ice cream for ice cream, yeah, ice
Oh, I
cream,
scream for ice
ice
cream.
cream, yes.
Okay, what's his ice cream for ice
So
cream?
it's a podcast, and it's on YouTube, and it's fully with captions enclosed, so that people who are also hearing disabled can follow along with it. And they're on Twitter as well. So that's where I found them. So I did that like 2 months ago, where we talk about the challenges that people are facing in terms of shareable content and gaming.
And it looks like they are on Spotify. Is this them?
Yes, that's the one.
Wait, there's only one episode. This doesn't seem right. Um,
It's probably better to find them on YouTube. I can send the link afterwards.
um, the issue with YouTube for me is, I mean, yeah, I know this is maybe I can, yeah, I kind of like to walk around, or when I'm doing something else, like to listen to it so I can sort of multitask. But then if it's on YouTube, then it's slightly more difficult. But again, thank you very much for sharing. If you want to share the link, I will post that into the comments so people can see it. And flash it up on the page, I guess, because I've realized that on YouTube, the comments that I share don't show up after the fact.
Oh yeah.
So I need to make sure to share them on. Anyway, so that thank you very much for sharing all of that. I do want to remind people at this point to feel free to comment, ask questions. Now we're going to get a little bit more on topic, and feel free to thumb and like and follow and all that sort of stuff. And we are doing social media marketing with Dina Ramsey. Is that correct? Ramsey.
It's close enough.
Okay, so I wrote this thing. Having chatted about the notion of marketing in general, we're not going to focus on social media. We're going to talk about what are hashtags, which you've got some examples of, and I'm excited to learn.
I do. Yeah.
And why would we use them? Because I understand vaguely, but I really want to understand more. And hopefully you can teach everyone and how much social posting is too much. And also, I should have written, like you talked a while back about this kind of 80-20 rule, that you said like 20% should be self-promoting and 80% should be other stuff, which I'm fairly sure, like, I'm probably like about 80% self-promoting, which I don't know, but we can maybe critique my thing as an example. But how can we be more efficient with what we do? And how should we change our behavior on different platforms? Like some platform, I'm thinking of going on to TikTok. I hear it's like all 1 minute videos, which sounds quite fun.
Do that. Yes.
And which ones might we want to skip? And
okay, so yeah, should I just dive in?
Yes. So, yeah, and Odin says, I can say with authority, many publishers suck at this, including, Inkwell Games, and, including me, yep. And so, please just dive in.
Okay, so I've actually gone around on Twitter and a lot of other platforms looking for various publishers when I was doing this big list that I have now on Twitter, where there's full of publishers and game designers. So I was gathering this list and also checking out how they're using the platforms to get an idea of how it's being used today by them and how those can be doing it better. And I did actually end up contacting a couple of them going like, hey, maybe you should consider this angle. And if you want to know more, I will be doing this stream. Because each platform does things differently with a very good reason. But it also means that you should use the platforms differently because of this. And the angle that you should aim at is also therefore going to be different. So when you are going into social media, you need to have a bit of a plan. What are you trying to do there? What are you aiming to achieve? And that will tell you what platforms you should use. For example, if you were wondering, should I go on TikTok? Then the question is, what would you be doing on TikTok? Are you going to jump on the bandwagons of all the trendy things with challenges that goes there? Are you wanting to talk about what you do? Or are you wanting to, joke around about game design and really find an audience there? Because there's a massive audience on TikTok and they're all doing slightly different things. Great thing for TikTok is, for example, to talk about diversity in games. It's easy shareable content, things that you can consume in 15 to 1 minute. As easy as, for example, like, do you want to get to know me better? This is me setting up a stream, or I did a TikTok today just showing my boxes because I have been planning a relocation, but because of the quarantining situation, it's been postponed now for like 9 months, and I still have my boxes packed for when it is actually possible to relocate. And that's the kind of thing that is easy to share on TikTok.
And TikTok has a 1 minute. So just to say, if you want to find the list of all the things, then you go to Dina Said So on Twitter, and that is the link. And you will see all the things for all the people there. But with TikTok, what is TikTok? It's like basically videos with a 1 minute maximum. Is that basically what it is?
Yeah, and then you can add in music, and people do a lot of fun things with the music. So they will find things that fit for the music primarily, and then they will make a TikTok into it, like miming or even singing, changing up lyrics. It can be, they have that swipe swipe song that people seem to really love, and I did like when you're dealing out the cards, that's a swipe, and you're sliding over the table. And that's a TikTok in itself because people love that. And then they will be curious about what is the game, what is the, and then that's a way to hook people in.
And I guess it's half about the technical abilities and half about the culture that's on this platform. Because sure, you could, I mean, I guess the technical abilities enforce certain things. For example, the fact that on Instagram, every post has to be an image, or the fact that on Twitter, you cannot write you can write a lot of text. I've seen people who share maybe 4 pages from a book via 4 images, but that's not the normal way. If you want to have actual text, and of course, if you do that, then you're ostracizing anyone who can't see the image properly and is using a screen reader, for example. Unless, of course, you use alt text. And I think, interestingly, they give you about 1,000 words for one image, which I think is quite poetic.
It's really good because you can really utilize that angle, to really go in and describe well the image that you're using, so that people will they just see the image. But if you're using a screen reader, they will read out the whole text, and that is a whole different level. But really, Twitter was never meant to be an image sharing platform. It automatically, the algorithm downgrades you for using images on their platform. So you have to not use them too much. It shouldn't be something that is your primary usage of the platform.
Yeah, so it's about also what do people on this platform want to see? Because if I know Shiva Shah does board game reviews in 1 minute. And, to me, it just seems like a really fun thing to do, to say, hey, here's the things that I played, and here's a 1 minute summary. Whereas Shiva does actually let me explain the rules and give an overview in 1 minute. So I'd be like, okay, here's the thing I like, here's the thing I don't like, and here's my overall opinion. I might not have even played it, but here's what I think of the rulebook. And or a thing I like, kind of just,
yeah. And for example, if we're going to stick with Twitter, Twitter does best is, to gain a lot of attraction for the algorithm is to use 1 to 3 hashtags, never more. Anything more than 3 hashtags within a text on Twitter is going to make you end up in Twitter jail, sort of thing. They don't like it. They won't show it to as many people. So 1 to 3 is like the prime, and a lot of people would then say that you should try to use the bigger hashtags and also look for trending hashtags when you are posting, because there's a lot of potential in the trending hashtag, but it's so organic. You kind of have to check first, is this going to be trending? Is it trending already? And then use those. There are tags on Twitter, like, for example, just hashtag board games with the S at the end, which will automatically be picked up by some bots, and they will reshare it and like your post, which is great for your reach, which will then, again, show it to more people. And one of the angles that I've been using on my Twitter personally, in terms of like finding all the game designers and sharing some of the stuff that I do there, has been to utilize this bot angle. And also finding the trending tags for the days and the moments that they are trending, and then ensuring I have something to post of value.
So it's all about finding out what hashtags the bots are going to share for you. I mean, do those bots actually get you more people? Because I know that a lot of bots are like just speaking to bots, if you know what I mean, with all the fake followers. I mean, I'm sure like anyone who's watched this show and has seen Dave Gorman has seen the whole thing about the fake followers that have been bought.
Yes.
But we're not talking about that kind of thing, are we?
No. So there are some really great bots on Twitter that don't share it to just bots, but actually have a genuine following. And those are the ones that you would want to find.
Okay, and so how do you find out what they are sharing, and yeah, how do you find and pick relevant hashtags?
There are some great online tools that you can use in order to sort of look at what is happening on Twitter. You on Twitter when you're logging it on a browser on your computer is that it will show on your right hand side a line of the current trending tags for your specific region. You can actually go in and change the region so that you can get better stats for this. For example, I like to use UK as one of my favorite places to look for tags because things usually goes trending faster in the UK before it trends in the other European countries, which is interesting. Another country to be looking at is like Canada. If things end up trending in Canada, you can be sure that it is within the hour or two is going to end up being trending in the UK very often, unless it's very specific and it will be like a France trending that will happen as a reaction to this, which makes it easier for you to capture like the European. And then anything that happens in Canada usually also ends up trending like within 12 hours also for the US. So by really knowing how all these countries are connected in terms of the marketing approaches, you can jump in and get on the right hashtags.
And how on earth would you find out what is trending in a given country? Because I can see the benefit in localizing your thing. For example, right now, I'm not posting anything to USA. Like I'm offering to do so, but it costs a lot more than usual. It costs about 200% of what it cost 6 months ago, because there's fewer planes coming in and out. Life's quite different. And I checked, a US game that I was considering getting. It was like a $20 game, and then the postage for that was $50. And so it would have made it into a $70 game, and I don't think this is worth $70. So how do you find out like this, what's trending in UK or?
Yeah, so obviously on the browser, you have this right side that shows you the current, I think it's the 5 topmost trending. And there are also other tools that you can go in. They have different names for what they're trying to do. There's like a 24-hour Twitter watch that has a site where you can basically go in and you can see for each hour what things are trending for like every single country. Which is very fascinating, but you really have to be super keen on your SMM in order to be using those kind of tools, because for a small time game designers or a publisher, that's not really going to be what you need. But if you see on your right side here, it says trending in the UK, Argos, right?
Yes.
Under what's happening. And here you can see some of the other tags. So obviously by using this tag, if you have something that is relevant, and you can go into show more, and you'll get more tags.
So then you kind of think, okay, what am I relevant to? And then think, okay, which realistically, when you have a game though, unless your game is actually about share, in which case, wow, what's going on with this game? Like, probably you would have had to pay a big license for that kind of thing. Or if you're actually marketing your game on the back of share, you might have to get into trouble with their lawyers potentially. But you're surely unlikely to be actually relevant to any of these things.
I mean, the nerdy lockdown looks can be quite relevant for a lot of us, with us changing, hairstyles and stuff, and that is just to get you out there, get people to view your stuff, and they will, if you're lucky, they will click in because it looked interesting and they're curious, and maybe your name also has that you're doing games, and then that will lead people to your account, which will then result in follows. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, to sell when you're using these hashtags, but more, to pique curiosity, because people will spend ages on Twitter.
Sorry, I like Alex's game idea. It's called Do You Believe? And then you get trivia facts about Cher, and then you have to guess, is this true or is it not true? Ah, sorry. Yeah, and yeah, glad to hear you're home safely, Jess. And Odin says they just searched for trending board game hashtags, and on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, hashtag board game is 28%, and you can see all those things there.
Yeah.
So,
So what I usually do is that I end up making a sheet in either Google Docs or Excel where I track all the hashtags that are trending, and I look at what is their frequency. Because when you're approaching hashtags, you need to look at the frequency of usage, especially when you're going beyond Twitter. For Twitter, you want to mainly focus on the larger hashtags that are having chances to trend. So anything that is current. But for Instagram, if I'll make that segue, is that you want to start looking at the frequency of them, because that's going to be important. I liken hashtags on Instagram a little bit like a pyramid. On the top, you'll have the really, really big ones. And because they're on the top, you should use them the least, because they are flooded with content and you're going to drown out really quickly. So what those kind of hashtags do best is actually to be used for like reels and stories. You'll find that often those really big hashtags for Instagram are going to be the same ones that are trending on, say, Twitter. They're also really good hashtags to use on Facebook now that Facebook has done some changes on their algorithms and their platform, is that we will start seeing more hashtags added in for Facebook. So utilizing the same rule for Twitter as on your Facebook with 1 to 3 hashtags, and one of them should be branding hashtags. So when you're going on groups on Facebook, you should use your branding hashtag in order to link back to your content. Make it easier for people to find it across the groups.
So even when you're just posting in a group, just say something like hashtag stuff by Bez, and that
Yes.
should be a consistent thing.
Yeah. So, for example, if you have your name of your game or Stuff by Baz, which is a brand, that is your brand, and you need to own it and then share it around because it has to do about familiarity. Yes, Inkwell Games is a branding hashtag. Definitely. Whenever you're talking about what you do and things that you're curious about and you're asking questions, add the hashtag so that when someone is seeing something that you're doing, they should be able to easily find you on other platforms and also on the platform they're currently at, and anything that would be relevant to that. So if I'm curious and I see Baz posting in a group about a board game that they're working on and asking for feedback, I should be able to hit that hashtag and then instantly find out that they have a Twitch and that they are on Twitter with the same hashtag.
And hi Ross, I think that might not be a branding hashtag unless, that was your entire identity.
If that is your game or you have a podcast called Feed Me Cheesecake, absolutely use it. But unless it's just for gags, it could definitely be a game.
Yeah, I like this game. It's kind of about, putting ingredients together, getting it in Ross's mouth, and Ross's mouth is kind of moving, and then you need to flick it. So it's a dexterity and resource management game.
I have a game like that for my kid with a frog, and you have to flick these little chips inside the frog mouth. We absolutely love that game.
Alex says they heard it takes 6 exposures for a brand for it to gain any mental traction.
6 to here some people say 8, some people say 10, but yes, 6 to 10 exposures, which is like piquing curiosity, but maybe they don't want to interact automatically because it has to do about, so we in marketing and SMM, social media management, we think about people in groups. So you have about 10% of the people who are online are willing to interact with you at the first, and they will be curious, and if it's easy for you to find them, it's easy for them to find you, they will start interacting and engaging with you. But that's only 10% of your people that you are able to find online that is going to be, engagement people. And the other rest, the next segment of people is people who only want to interact when others are interacting. So unless there's already a comment or enough likes, they're just going to skip you. And then obviously then having more exposure to this person increases the chances that you can find those 10% that will start a conversation that the next 10 to 20% is going to be interested in actually continuing. And then you have all the lurkers, which makes up about 50% of the people who hang around, that you'll often see them on like Kickstarter. They won't read your updates. They just want your game. They're giving you the money, but there's no conversations from them whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, lurkers are certainly going to be the big thing, but then sometimes the people who are lurking and not conversing, they
Can be,
might, they might still be enjoying the thing. I mean,
absolutely, because you're
hello,
creating value.
I'm trying to remember the name of this person. I'm so sorry, I can't remember your name. I'm just Dean Dumbass. Anyway, I think I've met you in real life at the Stratford place, in London. Anyway, so like it's like Chris is lurking, whatever. But oh, anyway, let's get back onto hashtags because you were going to talking about branding hashtags. Like, so this morning, I shared this in a couple of groups. So it sounds like at the bottom of every one of those Facebook posts, because there was no character restriction, I should have had like hashtag stuff by Bez, hashtag Bez streams, something like that, or I don't know, Bez.
So when you're approaching, if we're just going to talk about branding hashtags, is that you want to look at what do you do, what is your brand, and what are the different segments of your brand, because for this, for example, this will be Bez talks about marketing. That could be a tag in itself. And then by using that, they should be able to find this one and the previous one that we did, and also the one that you did. Who was it again? Who did the social media earlier? So you talked with various people about marketing, and they should be able to find all of those under that particular hashtag.
Yeah, that makes sense. So then you can click on it, and then in theory, it shows you on the different groups in Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot,
And
I forgot to share it to my personal thing.
Because then people will find everything that has to adds value to them under that particular tag. So obviously, yes, there should be one tag saying just stuff by Bez, but if you want to get into the nitty gritties, there should also be branding tags that has to do about the specific segments of your game or what you're doing. So Bez stream, it could be one saying Bez plays games, because you do that a lot on your streams. So based on what your content is, there should be different tags.
Yeah, that's a good point because, if I am actually doing hundreds of streams, which I don't know, this is number 139 of the morning streams, not to mention the other morning stream which I did, which wasn't technically part of this, and all the daytime streams and all the streams for UK Games Expo and and that's So
if we go back a little, and then we can do like the like we were talking about, you will show Instagram, and then we will add in the first hashtag.
Okay.
So I picked out Gamestagram because I think it's a really good tag, and you can see that it has like so many posts. If you go on the top there, let people see the top screen. So this is when you're searching for a tag within Instagram. You have the circle that's showing pink and their gradient, which means that there's stories connected to it. These are short videos of people who are uploading content using this tag. So whenever you're doing stories, you can add 30 tags inside of stories. And when you're doing it, make sure you make it tiny, tiny, tiny and add something on top like this person did. They added the little banner on top. And these are people who will be shown on their first page when you search. And also, if you follow this hashtag, it will end up in your feed. And you'll be prompted to view it. But also on the front page, when you're searching for the hashtag, if we go back, you can see there's only two stories for today. So someone should probably, if you're watching this, use this on your stories.
Is there showing it too? Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I
this
should
is one
just
of the do
share
that.
something right now.
And one of them was 18 hours old, which means that it will fall out after 6 hours because you're only available there for 24 hours. Now, we have top posts. Usually there's also a recent. If there is enough people who have used it recently, which means like within the last week or last month, there will be a separate tab saying also top posts and then recent posts. This particular tag doesn't have a lot of recent usage. There could be various reasons for that based on their algorithm. It doesn't show next to each other because they're swapping up how everything is being viewed on browser at the moment. So you can see these are the people who posted it most recently, and then the other one is out of those, the 9 most engaged ones. So if you got a like or comments more than 4 words on your post, you will end up in the top posts. And you can only end up in the top post if the content of the image that you're sharing is similar to other content that is using the tag.
So this seems to be a video game themed thing. So is this still suitable for board games?
There is also quite a lot of board gaming content that is using this tag. Right now, it's not on the most recent or the top, but based on the graphics that is being shared, because there's more at the moment, there has been more video gamers who have used the tag. They have kind of reclaimed it from the board gaming community without the board gaming community really noticing, because there's not that many people who do social media management properly, and there's a lot of learning to do still within the gaming of board games and card gamers that needs to be done, which is why I wanted to show this one particularly, because it has been claimed by a different segment. But it is easy for us as board gamers to go back and kind of reclaim it as our tag.
And it sounds like the whole idea is that there's people who are following this, so they will see a lot of stuff that comes out of this. Yeah. Even though Ross has been telling me that most people who use Instagram don't actually see everything that they're following.
No,
because
they do not.
I look at literally everything that I'm following.
So based on how many times you open the app and you view your feed, it will show you different content. So the more times you open, the more Instagram will start digging into their own algorithm to show you new and interesting things. And this is kind of cool. Because it really means that they're trying to curate the feed for you to stay longer. If Instagrams can get a session more than 15 minutes out of you, it means that whatever they are showing you, they will assume that you're wanting that. And then they will continue to show you more of the same looking content. So the images that they're showing you are kind of triggering their algorithm for the graphics in the same way, and therefore they think that that's what you want to see. So they are trying to curate your feed to show you similar content as what you're engaging with. And obviously most of us, we follow people on Instagram because we're generally interested to see what they're doing. But because of how the algorithms is working, a lot of the stuff gets drowned out. And I've been trying to play around with it a little bit and see how to actually get the smaller accounts that I'm following who aren't doing hashtags as well as they could, and really see what does it require from the user in order to get the attention into the feed.
I mean, for me, when I use Instagram, I guess it's always important to remember that people are so different to you. And if I may share a really short explanation of how I use Instagram. So I kind of open my phone and then I would say, okay, this now shows me all the recent pictures from the people that I follow. And then I get to the bottom of that, and then it says, oh, here's some suggestions, and then I close my phone because I want to see the pictures from the people that I'm following, and then I usually like lots of that. And if I, if someone has posted, more than a couple of times since I last look, then I'm like, you know what, they're posting too much. I'm just going to follow them, and that's the way that I use Instagram. And so but then I use Instagram because I'm like, if I'm following you, I want to really see everything from you. And it's like, okay, here's like a few people, and there's some people, like probably hundreds of people I'm following who haven't posted anything in quite a long time. So if one of them now posted something, I'd be like, oh, cool, lovely, what's a delight. And yes, it's but I hear that most people don't do this. Most people follow more people than they're actually going to see all the photos of.
Yeah. And for content creators, it is, the easiest way to be shown in someone's feed is to utilize hashtags. It is a little game in itself within Instagram. You kind of have to play an algorithm in order to be shown. So it can be a lot of fun for the people who do these kind of things. Like I think this is super exciting, but I also want to use this and my excitement to teach others how to do it better. Because I genuinely think that there's so many people who are sharing absolutely great content and has, really good captions and the images that they're using. And I think that the best for everyone would be, if I actually can see all of you in my feed.
I mean, with the hashtag, so here I'm looking at the hashtag game. Oh, whoops, that's misspelt. Game. That's quite interesting. So this is misspelt game development with an extra E. I just realised. But still, there's a lot of really popular stuff. So I'm wondering now what would come.
It's a fun thing with Instagram is that, obviously some people will mistype one tag and then a lot of people will use the same misspelling, and it's a great way to, capture an extra bit of audience. So if you're using game development as written correctly, these are the numbers. There's 367,000 people who will be able to view your content if they're following the tag and are using, looking at this sort of content. And also with this typo, there's still a lot of images being shared. So when you are using this hashtag, you should ideally have both of them.
So is it actually a good idea to have a misspelled hashtag?
Misspell hashtag is a nice way of capturing that little bit of extra audience to your post. So it's basically about extra exposure. And then with it comes the other part of how many people are using it, and should you use both of them every time that you are sharing under this particular hashtag. So say you are working on game development and you are wondering, all the various different ways that could possibly be misspelled, is that with people being, diverse and all that with dyslexia, is that some of them will automatically always go into the misspelled version of it.
And then we've got card gamers, and let me put that in.
Yeah.
Did you want to say anything about these particular hashtags and when use them?
So if we're going to do the whole, so I was talking about the triangle of how you are, you want to look at your hashtags that you're using. The ones on the top is the ones that has, millions of images being shared and posts done on it, which on Instagram drowns you out really quickly, but you should use them for stories and reels. Then you have the level 2 hashtag, which is, it is in the hundreds of thousands. Which is like game development is in that range, which means that the diversity of the content is quite wide. There's a lot of different things that will end up on a hashtag, which gives a great view of what people are doing within a very... And for those hashtags that are like level 2 in the pyramid, you can use those tags for both your feed and your stories and your real content. For this particular hashtag, I wanted to also talk about this because when we are talking about capturing hashtags, which is the algorithm sees that the hashtag is relevant to the kind of content you are making, and therefore it will show you earlier within the top posts and most recent posts. So when a hashtag is captured, it's basically the top post that those have been captured. The algorithm has said, okay, this is verified. This is what you're actually doing. You're using this tag a lot. And it seems that the image you're using for the tag is relevant to what you are using the tag. So some people will add hashtags that aren't quite relevant to the content, and then the algorithm will downgrade you for it. So by also ensuring that the image and the captions are relevant to the tags that you're using and swapping it up regularly so that Instagram still gives you the proper reach and views so that you end up in people's feed, therefore gaining bigger audience.
So what you're saying is that here, card games is clearly a more popular hashtag. There's more going on over it. There's 634,000 posts. In I don't know what kind of time frame this is, but here where it's got 1,000, well, less than 2,000 posts, there's less chance of being drowned out, and some people are still going to be following it, and so use those slightly less popular tags unless you are a monolith.
So on Instagram, you can use 30 tags for each post that you're doing, and you want to aim it like this. 10 of those tags should be what we refer to as nano or micro tags. These small tags like card gamers or card games, which has less than 5,000 posts, are the ones that you should use the most because that's really gaining you more views, while as the bigger tags you should use less of. So say 5 of your posts could probably be the really, really big ones like card games, which is a massive one, or Gamestagram, which is absolutely freaking huge, which can give you views, but you should use them more for story content because the longevity of your post is longer for the smaller tags than it is for the bigger tags. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, wee bits. It's kind of I think it might be good to catch up with the chatter because I do want to say hello, Timothy. It is lovely to see you, and yeah. So Reels is Vine on Instagram. Odin
or
says
actually more like TikTok. Facebook platform where the Facebook and Instagram wanted to do something more than stories because stories is slightly longer. So they basically did an adaptation that they are calling Reels, which is basically TikTok. So with the TikToks, you can just follow and you can use your Reels, which is like the TikTok version of Instagram, on both your stories and a separate channel inside Instagram where you can just watch Reels and just watch stories. And also you can push all of these into your feed now, which is kind of interesting. But you can't push your stories to feed, but you can push your Reels to feed. So it gives you the opportunity to have a higher shareable content and a larger audience base to get to see your content because people get the push notification if they're following you. If you haven't used Reels or Stories in a while, they will get this pop-up saying, okay, this person just posted a Reel, you should go check it out. And by also pushing it to your feed, people will also then get a push notification or at least a prompt to view your feed as well. So by really utilizing and do everything of the stuff that is on Instagram is that you make a feed or you make a reel, you push the reel into the feed and you push the feed into your stories with hashtags for all of that. So in essence, you would be able to use 60 hashtags, which could be relevant for the content that you're using and doing, say, Reels board games, which is one of the tags people use on Reels at the moment. Which gives you a lot of people seeing your content.
Yeah. Like that definitely feels like something that I'll have to go off and investigate myself because I've not looked at Reels at all. Xate was talking about, all the popular misspellings, and Odin was saying that well, you said you should go up to 3 on Facebook and Twitter. On
Yeah,
either one, use
one to
between
three.
1 and 3. And Odin suggests pounding in a lot of hashtags on your first comment. Now, I've seen
It
people do
wouldn't
that.
really advise doing that because Instagram is currently changing up their algorithms with now there being more real people there and they're using a different computer algorithm base. So by pushing your hashtags into first comment, you're actually now at the moment getting more views onto your content, and therefore you should do the double empty space in your post and then add in your tags at the moment. Last year, putting all your 30 hashtags within the first comment was definitely the way to do it because they were giving you more views for having comments on content early on, but that is not longer the case. Now Instagram is currently giving more views and better reach for all the content that has the most likes and saves. And all the comment
So
are on Instagram has to be more than 4 words, so it's quite a lot. But yeah,
just go
that's the
new line, new line, new line, hashtag cards gamers, hashtag cards games. And
everything.
would
Yeah,
you literally, I mean, is there any limit to how many hashtags you would recommend on Instagram?
30.
Okay, is that because you're limited to 30 or is that because.
That's a limit, and if you can find relevant 30 tags, do it. If you can't find relevant tags 30, do like try to get 15. 15 is what I consider the optimal usage for
Okay.
each of your posts. Because after that, you're going to be diving a little bit too far from what the content is and could accidentally harm your post by adding a tag that the algorithm doesn't seem appropriate.
Wow, I normally do between 0 and 4, so it sounds like I really need to add on a lot of hashtags for
Yeah.
Instagram. But it sounds like you can't just then be doing the cross post it to Facebook because then you'll have way too many hashtags for Facebook.
Yes. Facebook and Instagram, as well as Twitter, are always going to show more and favor the posts that are done natively on the platform. So if you're doing content on Instagram, you can share the same image, but you should preferably, not share it from Instagram to Facebook because a link on Facebook is automatically downgraded. A link shouldn't be added unless it is like, link in first comment is definitely a thing that is still current.
And I believe that you can only actually have hyperlinks if you've got something like 10,000 followers, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Odin has given us some numbers of how many things might have been relevant for Odin. So, Roland Wright, Roland Wright's games, Roland Wright. Oh, games, singular games, plural.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I would have thought that games would be what people. Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
And
when we're
Roland
looking at
Wright's and Roland Wright's Wednesday.
Yes. I think there's also a Roland Wright Thursday, or is it Sunday? There's one of the other days in there. So when you're looking at these hashtags, they're all nano hashtags. That means that they're under 50,000. There's even under 5,000 there, which means that they're great hashtags to capture. So by doing a couple of posts a week and ensuring you're not sharing the same hashtags on the like consecutive days, so every 3 days you should ideally change up your hashtags, and then you can revisit them after the 4th day. This is the kind of thing that you would be able to capture. And by capturing, I mean you would be able to get into the top post, which pushes you into more people's feed on Instagram.
Chris says they try to hide hashtags below with paragraphs with full stops, just so that people don't see it in the actual thing.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing to do?
Doing the full stops is not necessary anymore. But definitely hiding the hashtags with at least 2 spaces or more after your normal post is definitely the way to do it.
And do people actually read words on Instagram? Do people actually, if I have an image and then I share like a full paragraph of text, are people actually going to read that?
Yes. If your image is interesting and it's captivating and gives people the peak of curiosity, they are going to read your captions. But if your image isn't interesting, they're going to pass or maybe just hit a like button and then continue.
And yeah, hello Marcel. It's lovely to see you join us. who's starting with Instagram, maybe we can have some beginner tips of what kind of content. I think you've just said it really well, of captivating and interesting, whatever that means for you.
Yeah. And you want to look at what are other people doing on the tags. So say you are going in with a new card game, and that is the angle that you're going to use. You're aiming at, maybe there's a Kickstarter coming, or maybe you're going to release the game, or you're looking for a publisher. Entering Instagram with that would be, the first post should always be who I am, who is this person posting. The second post should be what do I do, and that the third post should be what is my aim. You would talk about your dreams and your hopes and your goals, and that will give you the guidance. Really, if you're using what you're writing in those first 3 posts, it will give you a direction of how to use the platform. And based on the engagement you can get in from other people using the same tags as yourself, so you would go in with the same hashtags, you would comment, you would like some of their other posts, you can gain an audience very easily that way. I did a test earlier this year by utilizing the newest strategies for SMM on Instagram, where I was able to get in more than 100 followers within less than a week.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, it's it's all about the engagement still, isn't it? It's all about how many people are actually liking your thing. I mean, I see people with 300 followers, but then every time they post, they've got like 67 likes. And so what contributes to that? Is that just because their images are resonating with people more and they're more captivating, or is it partially to do with posting consistently or hashtags?
So consistency is definitely a key when it comes to Instagram, and also knowing your audience. So by knowing your audience, you will be able to give them the images that they would want, and captivating them enough to read your captions, and therefore also leaving a comment or a like. And by utilizing hashtags properly, you can really up that. So when you have 300, which is considered quite small account on Instagram, if we're going to use that one as an example, is that usually an account that has more, like 300 to maybe like 5,000, is that most of those people are going to be high engagers. And by having a higher engager, that means that they are going to also be very, the content that you're sharing is relevant to them. They are interested in what you're doing, and they're giving you the time to interact with you. And also they are more loyal. So whenever you go past that 5,000 subscribers, is that the loyalty to your account is going to go down. So whenever you're sharing, you won't turn all of those 5,000 into commenters or interactor, and many of them might not even have their own Instagram that they are active on. So it gets really interesting, because that's when you get beyond 5,000 followers is when we would consider you to, you're an interesting influencer or ambassador on the platform.
And, there are definitely some people who have reached that point. I mean, Ross used to post a ton and has managed to get a crazy number of followers, as well as obviously all the big things like, I think UK Games, some of the conventions will have that kind of following, or the biggest publishers.
Yeah.
We've got a question about someone in this chat has 13.9 followers. I don't know if that's actually true. Whoops. Yeah.
Like, who is in the chat here?
No, Ross is no longer in the chat, apparently. Ross has snuck out, I'm afraid. So, yeah. So, you are wrong, Gordon. Anyway.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work to get there. It requires, consistency, usage of the platform in order to stay current and engaging with the people who are following you. And usually you'll see that the people who have passed 1,000 followers themselves also have quite a low amount of people that they follow. A general rule in terms of engagement to keep a higher follower count active is for every time they comment or like some of your content, you should go back and give back. So give them a comment and like for one of their most recent posts. Because that will ensure that they are, you are being shown on top of their feed every time that they are continuing
because of
to
the
engage with you.
algorithm, because presumably Ross doesn't see everything on Instagram. So if Ross doesn't like my picture, it's not necessarily that Ross doesn't like it. It might be that Ross hasn't seen it.
Exactly.
Yeah. High follower count person lurking instead of hosting or raiding SMH. I don't understand that. Anti-social media marketing, when you spread really unpopular opinions to get more engagement.
We were actually talking about this yesterday on Twitter. But that is one way of doing it, by spreading unpopular opinions in order to stay current for the algorithm. And then, occasionally spread nice sounding words so that you get in more followers, because you can obviously lose followers on spreading unpopular opinions. But people like things that are a little bit edgy, and it's definitely what approach that I've seen people try to do. It is incredibly difficult to maintain it, because it's, you can quite easily go too far and then you lose the follow count.
Odin says they tend to have a similar following and follower accounts, which made me curious, and I checked mine, which is, let me show, 1,013 followers, which is, I guess, whoops, let me put you up there, Dina, because people can't see you well enough. Decent 380 following, which I don't have like a number that I want to follow. It's basically if I've got too many to scroll through when I open it, and I'm like, oh wow, that took me like 20 minutes. Whoa, that was a long time. I need to unfollow some of these people. That's the way I do it, because as I said, I look at literally everyone that I'm following. So Calvin Wong said, all these people, either I know them or I have seen something about their stuff that's really cool. Like Joel's one of my best friends from back in the day. Oh, there's you, Dina. So I've not seen anything from you in a while.
I posted 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah, that's a while.
Yeah, I know. I'm gearing up to something very exciting about my role-playing game.
Like Amy keeps posting the same stuff, so I might unfollow them to be honest. But it's like, these people that I follow, some of them, I mean, are personal life. Some of them are board games. Some of them are pretty things. Some of them, are just, hey, this is, public domain art that I'm interested in. And I want to see it all. Do you know what I mean? Because I have that's my method of curating. I don't want the algorithm to curate it for me.
Yeah.
And so,
and then the algorithm goes like, what are they trying to do here? But yes, if we're going to talk about this comment, is that usually when I would be looking at someone who has a high follow count and a high follower, is that it is a sign of one thing and one thing only, is that either they're doing follow for follow or they're using what is referred to as pods, which is groups on usually Facebook or forums where you go in and you go and follow a random bunch of people so that they will go and follow you. Basically means that the content that they are, it doesn't necessarily mean that there is engagement equal to the following count. I see this a lot in, for example, the Bookstagrammer people who do book reviews, is that they will follow each other and then there's like a follow threads that they do every week, and it does help on getting you more followers, but not necessarily the people who want to stay and engage with your content.
And so it sounds like that's actually a big red flag for you, that you feel like, okay, something's going wrong here.
So when looking for influencers for publishers, because obviously I want to make sure that this conversation here is relevant for publishers and people who do board gaming design. When you're looking for influencers, that is usually a red flag that they're not going to deliver the sort of conversion that you want in terms of purchases for your game.
And so it sounds like, to answer Xate's question, there's no social rules about you have to follow someone if they follow you or anything like that.
No. If their content is interesting, absolutely do follow them. But unless the content is interesting or you're curious about what the person is doing, don't feel socially obligated unless you're participating in a follow for follow pod. Don't do it. Yeah. Be genuinely interested in what the people are posting in order to curate your feed for what you actually want to spend your time on Instagram for.
So we've got some sorts of thinly veiled threats there. I don't know what's going on.
That's a lot of stops there.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Xates gets annoyed by people posting the same thing on all the platforms, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But
yes,
how do you get, like, if I want to tell people about something, it's like, oh my god, this amazing thing that I saw. How do I share that in multiple places and not annoy people?
Okay, so the idea is that if you're doing multiple platforms, you should curate the content for each of the platforms you're on. So say the really cool thing is, I don't know, didn't you share a picture of a squirrel this week? Right?
Yeah,
Or
that sounds
something.
about right.
Yeah, I think there was a squirrel. Okay, so with you sharing the picture on Twitter, for example, you would find a relevant hashtag to squirrels, or maybe even like this is your Monday inspiration or whatever. And then would you curate your captions so that they are reading a little bit different for each of the platforms?
So
The purpose of sharing the squirrel on the different platform has to be slightly differently curated. And also don't share them all within the same hour. Spam them out a little.
Yeah, so on Instagram, this was it. Hashtag squirrel. It was lovely to see this friendly thing in St. James's Park. Whereas I think on Twitter, it was just about, like, okay, here's
funny things I've seen today or something.
Yeah, like it was my thread of, hey, here's like my recent highlights, and it's just a big photo thread, which is like, okay, here's like a photo dump of like, it's not literally all the photos I take. It's about, frankly, I've taken a lot of really nice pictures, even today. Like in my like 1 hour walk, I took about 20, 30 photos. I'm probably going to share about 8 of them. But because there were lots of nice things, and the world is amazing. And yeah.
And when sharing on Twitter, you should never do more than 4 at the same time within the same day, because then it's gonna look like a dumb for Twitter. Yeah. And obviously on Instagram, doing more than 2 posts during a day is not recommended. So keep it to at least maybe just 1 post a day, and try to be more consistent. So if you had 4 images that you wanted to share, either have them as a carousel, like a swipe post on Instagram, or span them out over a couple of days.
Yeah, I think Xate is telling me off for posting the same thing across Facebook groups, one after the other.
I have people who will like post something, and then I have like 5 posts coming in from one particular person. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to swipe all of them away because it is the same content on all the different groups that I'm a member of. And it's not interesting. It looks like spam. And obviously on Facebook, I am a member of a lot of different groups. I think I have like somewhere around 100 something groups that I'm following. So when I see, 5+ of the same person, I'm probably just going to assume that it's all just, a spam basically. So no more than 3 groups at the same time on Facebook, and span it out a little bit. So maybe the next day you will do 3 more, or maybe even after 6 hours, because you can time some of these things.
And so it sounds like a lot of it comes into hashtags and timing things out and spacing things out. And let's think about, why am I using Twitter? Because frankly, if I just want to share these photos to say, hey, these are really nice photos, I think you should see them, then maybe it's fine for me to just share like 20 photos all in one go. If that's not really me with my marketing hat on, that's me with my, hey, here's some really nice things in nature, I think you should see it. And if you're interested, you'll be able to see it.
The problem, obviously, with sharing too many pictures on Twitter is that they will downgrade your post so that nobody gets to see them.
Man, so what you're saying is that I should stop doing my photo threads on Twitter?
I really think you should continue them, but space them out. So like you do the first 4, and then after another, you can use the scheduled tweet function, which quite recently launched out for just about everyone now on Twitter. And then have the next post come in half an hour or an hour.
That sounds like a lot of work. I mean, frankly, the reason that I don't even add any text and is so that I do it for my phone. So that I'm just like, okay, here's the best pictures of this. Here's, well, I mean, would that downgrade all my other tweets or just those
for
tweets?
the rest of the week?
For the rest of the week, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So what you're saying is that if I stopped doing that, then more people would see my tweets in general.
Potentially, but then you also have quite a good engagement rate on your Twitter. Like I always comment, and there's always other people commenting on your content, which kind of helps balancing it all out so that you can actually do those dumps.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
The scheduling tweets got out for most people during the summer months. So it came out the first time for some of the European countries. I think it was like, Germany had it first in March, and then they've been slowly reeling it out for everyone.
This little icon with the calendar.
Yeah.
And then you click there.
So anything more than an hour from now on can be scheduled.
So I think we need to start wrapping up. Thank you so much for all the information. This was absolute gold. If anyone had, I know there was at least one question that I missed, but I'm not going to scroll back. But if you're still here and you want us to get to it, please feel free to share it again. And I thought we'd go over quickly, even if some of them we need to leave for a future episode. Maybe you can go over the opening questions and see how we done in answering them. So how can...
Timothy is wondering if anyone wants to see the cat.
Sure. I've got a Facebook group, actually, where people are allowed to post pictures of cats. If you go to if you search for the Kitty Cataclysm Facebook group, I don't have many people there, but any pictures that you made that involve... Oh, Timothy, okay, there we go.
Hello.
Cool.
Do you want to say
well, let me make
people?
you... Hey.
It's like, where did the daddy go? There you are.
Cute.
Isn't he just adorable? But yeah, we were talking about making this a regular thing, and then, I'll pop back on in 2 weeks' time and we can continue the conversation if people have more questions about content creation and marketing or social media management.
And everyone is... Aw. Hello, your wee thing, Jess. Meow in Thai. Apparently meow is spelt meow, although it would be a different script anyway. But so yeah, looking at our things, what's our hashtags and why would we use them? It's ultimately because people are following them and it shows it to more people via the algorithm. It's all hail the algorithm. That's what I'm basically getting from this. It's
a little bit like that, yeah. Work the algorithm. It's a little bit like a miniature game. You can play it and you will get rewarded for it by having more views and more people seeing your content.
It feels like a game of Mastermind, if you know that old game, where you're kind of everyone's trying to collaboratively work out what the algorithm it wants, and yeah. Oh, how about the Facebook group for BBBB? Alan asks. Yeah, if at least two people want it, then I will make it. That's what I usually say. So sure. Um, Javier, you're very welcome. And so, yeah, how much social media posting is too much? It sounds like, yeah, you don't want to annoy people. You don't want to be doing a dump of images. Like it sounds like you want to share images only once every 1 hour. That sounds like not very much to me.
Okay, so if we're going to look at the overview for how you should use your time on the different platforms, it would be one post a day on Instagram. If you're going to look the optimal, one post a day on Instagram. And for each post that you do on Instagram, you should probably think about doing 5 tweets, whereas one of them should be using one of the trending hashtags, and one of them should be aiming at a larger tag, for example, board games, which is a very popular one, or card games. And the rest of them should be, sharing tidbits of your life or whatever it is that you prefer using the platform for in general. And out of those 5, one of them could be self-promoting.
Wow. And again, like you say, like 20% self-promoting. So, I mean, we've not got much time, but just, yeah, looking at, let me close this. I So if I look at my stream, so yeah, self-promoting. I guess that's not self-promoting.
No.
Yeah, that's not self-promoting. That's self-promoting, 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 self-promoting. Yeah.
And a whole lot of really long threads too.
Yeah.
But then if you go into your tweets and replies, you'll see that there's a lot of non-promoting content that you're sharing that you're not even considering right now. Because you do comments on people's threads and you do a lot of engagement that isn't self-promoting per se. It is just enforcing your presence. And when you think about all the tweets that you do, you'd probably be looking at maybe having 40% of self-promoting more than an 80% that was your estimate.
Maybe. I mean,
because I've been looking at it for a while now, because I knew you would say that you're doing too much self-promoting. So I had it as one of my tasks for this month, was to really, review your tweeting, because that is one of the things that I do as a social media marketer, with a community-based, is that, we will go and we will look at how you do things currently, and then we will say, okay, maybe if you change this thing or this thing, you would be spot on target. And the cool thing is that, this week I started training another person to be doing the same things that I am doing, to really, show them how all of these things work, and also, be able to find people who can utilize this.
I mean, I guess
and be
that's
better
why
on the platforms.
That's kind of why I do the photo thread, because to me that's like my thing where it's not self-promoting. That I'm like, hey, here's something where it's not about me. Yes, some of the games, yeah, I played the games. I played Biddle, and that's kind of self-promoting. Yeah, of course it is, because it's an L game, even though I didn't make it. But yeah, all the hey, let's see all this nature that's outside of our window. That's like why I'm trying to be like, yeah, it's not all about me, I guess. Like it's just a bit about me.
Yeah, and it is really, it's a part of the enforce your presence that you have on the platforms.
And yeah, we really need to wrap up. I think we've got so much more to talk about like efficiency is such a big thing. Like that could be its own topic in all. But I think this we've got some amazing topics. So if I just jump straight to where's my banner? Recap. And so to recap, I'll change that banner.
Talked a lot about hashtags.
We talked about autumn. We talked about Vidala nature. We talked about the orchestral version of Undertale and being on ice cream for ice cream, and about having a plan. You need to have a plan for when you want to go on social media. What do you want to do? About the technical abilities of different formats, about the cultures on formats, about having 1 to 3 hashtags on most places, unless you are Instagram, in which case 15 is apparently optimal. About some good bots, that there are some good bots that people actually follow. Think about what is trending. Think about a branding hashtag, for example, not just hashtag stuff by Bez, but hashtag Bez marketing or hashtag Bez exercise. I guess that's kind of like a branding hashtag. Because I'm like, yeah, think about Instagram stories. Think about hashtags, Gamestagram, cards gamers, game development, or game development with an extra E. And think about Instagram Reels. Think about, as your first few posts, if you're going there for the first time, who am I? What do I do? What am I trying to do? I mean, if you've been there a while, maybe it's a good idea to keep these 3 questions in mind. Even so, think about consistency. Think about 1 per day on Instagram, 5 tweets per day on Twitter. And is there anything else that you would like to say in this wrap up?
And go on all the groups on Facebook, but span it out.
All the groups. Okay. So, and be attractive, apparently, because apparently what I need to do is I need to start hiring Chris to have like topless photos with the L cards. You look like you're not convinced.
I know sex sells. I mean, my day job is in erotica and romance publishing, but there are limits for how far you can pull it. I mean, for the L deck, maybe you would hold the specific letter card over a body part to highlight that there is a correlation in order to make sure that the content that you are sharing is of value to the people, so they will find it funny and cheeky.
For example, spell out the word bum and cover
then
Chris's
show a
bum.
Yeah.
I was going to say cover Chris's bum. Like, so it shows all of Chris except for the bum. I do have Giant's card somewhere. So yes, this is something that we can do. Doesn't have to be nude, just has to appear nude.
Or like, dressed as well. That's also an angle, you know, like this is a knee. And then you can spell it out.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that goes really well on Instagram in terms of body parts is people showing their legs. And then you'll have a picture with just the legs showing, and then you'll have like the cards around it. And yes, it does go into the thirst trap.
L games.
I mean, that should totally be a hashtag.
I like this. And so, yes. I am just flustered now. I don't know I don't know if this is even a good. Yeah. So, I want to say thank you very much. Thank you very much to everyone who's been watching, to Alan, Alex, and Kate, my lovely moderators, to Jess from Thailand, to Odin, who's in USA. Oh my God, how early is this? I hope that you're all good. To Dean Dumbass, to J Foolsguard, to Chris, everyone who's watched, and everyone who's been lurking. Apparently, I just read it how it's in alphabetical order. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just kind of look through the list and then I remind myself in alphabetical order. Oh, and Timothy, thank you for watching along. And so, yeah, sure, you can all be, sure, share it on whatever social media you want. I will follow that hashtag and you can be in the first Trap L Games calendar. If we get at least 2 people to do it, then I will do the rest with Chris. Are you agreeing to do the rest yourself?
Best doing social media stretch goals here.
Yeah. And then we'll do like a calendar. I just want to check that Chris is actually okay with this, because, you know, Chris is definitely okay with being topless, but are they okay with being topless on behalf of me? That's the question. But anyway, Thank you, everyone. Yeah, and most importantly, thank you, Dina. This was amazing. And yeah, thank you for sharing your knowledge. Just so much gold.
And if you
And
have any more questions, I'm on Twitter, on Instagram, and all over the place, and I'm quite easy to catch for, to prepare for the next round with Buzz to talk more about marketing and social media.
and oh, let me check. I was about to copy it from the YouTube, but then it cuts off some of the links. So let me copy it from my Google Sheet that I've got. Just 1 second. I'm going to, if you want to follow Dina, can you talk about can you talk about your social medias that I am posting in right now?
Okay. Whoa. Okay, so we have LinkedIn. This is just where I gather people to talk about marketing primarily. Hero Time is a manufacturer located in China. The person who's running is from the US or EU, and I do social media marketing management for people who are planning to have their games released on Kickstarter or publishers who are trying to get some more help on their SMM or media marketing. I think is the YouTube link there for A Tale of Sampo, maybe? Probably.
Hold on.
Or is it mine?
Whoops. People can see behind the scenes.
Yeah,
It
you can find me on
is
Instagram as Gamer
a short
Valkyrie if you
film
follow
that
me.
you did the stuff for.
Oh, yes. This is for A Tale of Sampo, Kalewala. It's a hidden movement board game where I helped out with the solo mode and also some of the card game text writing there. And I ran the marketing campaign, and that's my butt showing in the image there. And yeah, on Instagram, I'm on Gamer Valkyrie, where I share about my role-playing game that is coming up and also all the games that I am working with or working on. And you can quite easily capture me there in order to talk about community management or social media. I try to hide all my tips within the posts that I share so that people can, have a look and get an idea of how things could look when they're sharing content here. On Twitter, that's the link for my work that I do, the daytime job in publishing for an erotica and romance novel app that will soon also feature some choose your own adventure stories. Very excited that I had a chat yesterday with the guys who were running Token Sesame Kickstarter for the containers for board game pieces to keep your table a little bit more tidy, and their story that they shared during the Kickstarter, which is that an adventure that you can embark on will actually land on our platform once they wrap things up, which I'm super excited about because it's a really fun story that they were sharing, and I would like it to go out to more people. And when you're working with a publisher, I think that was one of the angles I could do in order to get the story more views, because it's a brilliant little story in a high fantasy world.
And you can check out all those links. If you're on Twitch, then those will all be in the comments. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, that will be in the description, is the word I want to say. Thank you, Jess. You're lovely, and lovely Jess says you have lots of knowledge. Sates is wanting to double check all of the nude shots before they get covered with cards.
Sate will be the editor for the calendar, apparently.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, there's going to be a I don't know what. Okay. Okay.
It will live its life on its own.
Okay. I mean, I am okay with a calendar. Genuinely, if at least 2 people, not Chris. Actually, you know what, Chris? If you want to if you do it yourself, then fine. You can get involved in this. I mean, but it's not. I'm not. But like, if two people of their own volition, not because like, um, actually do a first trap L games, then I will make the calendar happen somehow. That will be a thing.
And you can always
Okay.
use print on demand.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not expecting it to be a big thing. Like, we could have Lulu or something like that. Anyway, so if you want to follow me, I am stuffthebez.com, stuffthebez.bigcarsal.com, twitter.com/stuffthebez, where I tweet lots, apparently more than I probably should, instagram.com/stuffthebez, where apparently I don't Instagram enough. So probably I should change that way. Twitch.tv/stuffbez, where I stream, facebook.com/ things by Bez, where I don't know if I do things enough or not enough. Let's talk about that next time. Stuffbybez@gmail.com, where you can get in touch with me. And there is also stuffbybez.com/streams. If you go to there, then it will take you to my calendar, which I will show you. Thank you, Andrew January, for suggesting that I have this redirect, which is a simple idea, but you don't always think of it. So stuffbybez.streams, you can see that, and you press enter, and then it redirects you to the Google Calendar, and then you can see where my next streams are. But before we talk about that, what are we looking forward to? Hopes and ambitions, it's over to you for this final section. So everyone, whether you're Dina, whether you're in the comments, whether you're watching this after the fact, just think within yourself, within your own heart. What are you looking forward to? Are you looking forward to something after this stream? Maybe tasting something, maybe eating something, maybe drinking something, maybe going for a walk, maybe enjoying a bit of nature, maybe doing a bit of exercise. Maybe tomorrow, what are you hoping to achieve? Maybe I'm hoping to get something sent to LA Dix for their cracker thing. They've asked me to join in with them. I'm also needing to get back to Tabletop Gaming Live. I need to write some show notes and record a couple of things. So I will be technically streaming, but record only. So it'll be like I'm going to be using exactly the same software, but then just sending the files over to them, if you know what I mean. And so that's going to be less of a blether, more of a lecture, let's say. So those are some things that I've got to get done within the next 30-ish hours. And then I'm going to, what else am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to, just exploring a bit more of the country, exploring a bit more of the world. I'm thinking about, BezCon, if that can be a thing. I've still not decided whether it can be a thing. I'm thinking about it for October the 17th. I don't know what will happen. If there'll be enough people involved. And what are you looking forward to? Let me know. So, Dina, what are you looking forward to?
I'm gonna have lunch very soon because it's been a long day for me. So with it almost being 2:00, and at 3 I have to pick up the kid from daycare. So I'm very much looking forward to that because we have a new game to be playing with him. So that'll be a lot of fun. He absolutely loves board games and card games.
Oh, that sounds like a delightful thing. So, as always, it's around lunchtime, and Chris is hoping to go and have some. It is Chris's ambition. I am hoping that a date happens. Oh, Xate's date hasn't messaged in a few days. That doesn't sound great. Oh, lots of love. Jess just had their dinner. Alan Outson's removed his shower enclosure and is now off to get some silicone to put it all back again. Doing lots of work around the house. Yeah. And Odin is gearing up the Kickstarter for Garbled. And Jess is looking forward to getting 90 minutes of dental work over and done with tomorrow at our new dentist. Notice that Jess isn't looking forward to doing it or having it done. They're looking forward to it being done. Wow, yeah. So, hello, Kill. Time for breakfast. I hope that you have a good breakfast, and Alex is looking forward to learning who they're working with. Tabletop mentorship program, that is a super cool thing. I did not sign up in time this time around. I was a mentor last time. I also signed up as a mentee, but I did not have anyone mentor me. But if I'm telling the truth, like, it seems like through this thing, I've had so many amazing people teach me stuff, like Dina today, and like all the people who come on to the show, it's been amazing. And so, yeah, what is an SM plan? I have no.
Social media.
Oh, social media. Wow, geez, it's not even a three-letter acronym. It's like, whoa, that could be Stonemeyer. It could be.
And if you need someone to look it over and have some help with it, I'm more than happy to check it out.
Yeah, that's really generous of you. And so, thank you for everything that you do. If you've enjoyed this, then please feel free to share, spread the word. If you think that this has been a useful show and other people should listen to Dina, then the YouTube link is going to remain up until, I was looking up a video how people do sometimes get banned arbitrarily. So hopefully that won't happen. Fingers crossed. But yeah, next streams. Look at stuffbybez.com/streams. So inventing games with Danny Goodisman, it's more of a, hey, Danny was really nice and kind of submitted stuff for every single year that the LDEC competition has been going. So it's like, yeah, let's have Danny on to chat about what they're doing and just chat about who they are. I did veto one particular topic because I was like, yeah, I don't want to talk that much about politics because it's not that I disagree with them. I completely agree with them, but I just don't want to have a rant about idiots in power on this particular show as a main topic, if you know what I mean. So we're going to be talking about love and business with Emily Shaw, localization with Javier, legality and ethics of online gaming with Mark Harris of Tabletopia, and then tiebreakers with Alan Paul. And honestly, I might stop putting this what we're playing in my kind of mega thread of all the streams, because what we're playing, it kind of feels nicer if it's just decided pretty much the day before, whereas everything else, it feels like it should be quite a bit ahead of time, if you know what I mean. But
and in terms of marketing, these are two different segments of your stream, so therefore they should, be shared separately.
That's true, because like it's easy to want to be like compartmentalize, but yeah, and at a point like a box becomes too big. It feels like streaming is the opposite of what you want. I mean, sorry, marketing is the opposite of what you want to do with people. So marketing, you want to have as small a box as possible, whereas with people, you don't want to be putting people into boxes. But with marketing, you want to be saying, I'm in this box and this, and like putting them in teeny tiny boxes. It's like, you are this.
Yeah, but it makes it easier for people to go back and find your content again.
Whereas, like, I am trying to be a wee bit different. Like, I'm trying to say, okay, we've had a lot of serious topics, like, yeah, love and business. That is actually about, it is about working with your partner. And localization, legality and ethics, tiebreakers, a very major design thing. And so let's talk about staying neutral. And honestly, this is just a ridiculous thing with Emma Zaya. I should kind of make that clear. Who's the Pointless Parrots podcast, and I will get all those things added. And yeah, that's just going to be a whole bunch of fun and hopefully be something that people can, because you need to mix that in somewhere, don't you? But yeah, I want to say thank you, everyone. Yeah. Emma, Sates is excited for Emma. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that you all have. I'm glad to hear that you have ambitions too, and you have ambitions as we finish off this section and we sing. Do you have anything left to say before we finish off? Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the Sorry, I'm laughing at this. Bye, 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 bye. And now
it's
is
time
time
to
to
go.
go. Bye bye.
Bye.